The shot cracked through his shoulder before he could dismount. He dropped the reins. The second rider yanked his rifle from the saddle scabbard. The third was already sprinting past, blade drawn. He fell back, hand slick with blood. The woman screamed behind him, dragging the child behind the water barrel. The old man reached for his pistol and caught an arrow in the side. One rider jumped the fence, spooked the mule, knocked over the crates. Hooves thundered in a circle now. The fourth rider tossed something burning towards the porch. He tried to rise. Another shot hit the dirt beside his head. He rolled for the trough. The child ran the wrong way. One rider turned hard and lowered his spear. The tip came down fast toward me. The spear punched into his side and drove him backward. Heat flared and breath vanished. He wrapped himself around the child and hit the ground hard. Weight crushed his ribs. Air refused to return. He dragged himself with one arm and one knee. Blood smeared the dirt. The child pressed against his chest. He kept his body between the blade and the small moving shape. Boots thudded closer. A rider swung down and walked straight at them. Leather creaked. Spurs scraped stone. The man tried to rise and failed. Pain locked his spine. He crawled again and forced the child under his shoulder. A shadow fell over them. The rider lifted his weapon. A sharp crack split the air. The rider jerked and fell sideways. Dust jumped. Silence snapped tight. From the barn doorway, a boy stood braced with a rifle. His hand shook. Smoke curled from the barrel. Another rider shouted. Hooves shifted. Someone cursed. The circle broke. Riders pulled back and fanned wide. They did not leave far. They waited. The man pressed his face to the dirt and breathed in short pulls. The child whimpered, and then went still. The boy lowered the rifle and staggered a step. The woman ran to them and dragged the child free. She hauled the boy by the collar. She did not look back. Shouts rose from the ridge. More hooves answered. The woman pushed the children toward the arroyo. Gravel slid under their feet. The man lifted his head once. He watched them run and stumble and vanish into the cut of the land. The ground tilted. Sound thinned. The heat dimmed. He tried to call out and could not. Darkness closed. He blinked and saw only motion and dust. A boot struck near his hand. He pulled the arm back and curled tighter. The child was gone, and the space felt cold. Breath rasped and burned. A voice called orders, and another answered. Feet circled, but stayed distant. A rifle clacked empty in the barn. The boy cried out and was dragged away. The woman shouted once and then kept running. Hooves came closer and then drifted off. The man pressed his palm to the wound and felt wet warmth. His fingers slipped. He tried to roll and pain crushed him flat. The world narrowed to his heartbeat. Each beat slowed. He tasted iron. The dirt stuck to his lips. Heat pulsed and faded. The noise of riders swelled again beyond the rise. He tried to lift an arm and failed. His vision tunneled. He focused on the last place he saw the children move. He held that point and would not let it go. The ground hummed. His chest stuttered and then settled. Light flared and vanished again. A ringing filled his ears. The ground felt far away. He loosened his grip on pain. Weight lifted from his chest. His breath slipped out and did not come back right away. Time broke and scattered silently. His eyes closed. He remembered the horse before the pain, tall and black with a white star and a quiet mind. It had carried him across 2 counties with a broken axle behind him. It had outlasted storms and heat and silence. Now it stood still in memory while the man gripped the reins and offered them forward. The Apache elder stood across from him, his face carved like dry stone. The younger Apache beside him leaned against a fallen log. His lips were cracked. His daughter clung to his leg and would not stand on her own. The elder raised one hand in refusal. His fingers did not tremble. The man did not speak. He held the reins steady and waited. The elder lowered his hand. He stepped forward. He took the reins. He looked once into the eyes of the man and turned away. The man walked home without looking back. He woke with fire in his ribs. His hand twitched. Dust clung to his lip. He blinked and saw cracked earth and a flicker of heat. He rolled and gasped. Pain spread wide and deep. His shirt stuck to his side. He pressed one palm down and tried to rise. A breath hissed out between his teeth. Smoke drifted low. The porch had collapsed. The barn door still hung open. His rifle was gone. The man dragged himself a few feet and stopped. His vision wavered. The sky burned bright. Sweat pooled under his jaw. A crackling pop startled him. The roof caved inward. Sparks jumped. Embers caught along the dry boards. He turned his head toward the ridge. A shape stood still. Too far to see the face. Too close to pretend it was nothing. The man narrowed his eyes. The sun cut across the figure's left side. No horse, no movement. Just watching. He reached toward the fence rail and missed. His fingers scraped dirt. Still, the figure stood. The man tried again. Got his elbow under him. Rose halfway. The figure stepped down from the ridge and vanished behind rock. His heartbeat spiked. His hand slipped. His arm gave out. Silence. Then hooves. Light this time, more than one. He rolled onto his back. The sky spun. His lungs pulled short and shallow. The fence post swayed. His side pulsed warm. He shut his eyes tight. Opened them again. Another figure now. Lower down, moving behind scrub. He could not tell if the second shape followed the first. The smoke thinned around him. The fire slowed. One more step, then none. He lay still. The earth felt harder than before. The ridge was empty again. His head dropped sideways. A boot print near his hip. Too fresh. Too close. Then, nothing moved at all. The woman slipped on a slope of loose stone. Her foot twisted, but she kept upright. The child sagged against her hip like a sack of flour. Too hot. Too quiet. The teen stumbled beside her and nearly fell. She caught his collar and yanked him forward. Dust coated his lashes. His lips moved without sound. His hands kept shaking. She dragged him through the cut in the earth. Her breath came hard and raw. Ahead, the ravine dipped low where part of the wall had caved. The shape of it cast a sliver of shadow. She pushed the boy down first, then slid the child in next to him. The girl coughed, dry and shallow. The woman dropped to her knees. Her fingers ripped at the hem of her skirt. She tore it free and wrapped strips around the boy's hands. The skin had burned red from the rifle. Blisters puffed under the knuckles. He blinked slowly and tried to speak. She hushed him with her palm against his mouth. His breath caught. She leaned out from the shelter and listened. Wind moved along the ridge. Somewhere far off, a bird cried once. Then the sound came again, distant but growing. A call? Not animal. Answering voices joined it. She gritted her teeth. Her hands moved fast. Bandage, knot. Check the girl's pulse. Lift her gently. The rifle slid off her back and hit the ground. She snatched it up, flipped it open. Only one round left. The boy shifted. He was trying to sit. She pressed him down again. He did not resist. She edged forward and raised the rifle. Her cheek touched the stock. She closed one eye. Above them, the earth sloped to scrub brush. A shadow moved across the top of the ridge, then another. She held her breath. Sweat tickled her brow. The child made a soft sound. She did not move. Boot steps on stone. Careful, measured, not running. She lowered the rifle just enough to see the shape better. The figure paused above the ravine, turned, scanned, then stepped past. She waited. 1 minute, 2. The war cries faded. The girl coughed again. The boy groaned. She let her breath out slow. Her arms ached. Her legs trembled. She leaned the rifle against the rock, looked at the children, looked at the light. Sun still overhead. Heat rising off the stones, blood on the boy's fingertips, ash on the girl's dress. She wiped her mouth. The ridge stayed quiet. No more calls, no more riders. She pulled the children closer to the rock wall. She curled one arm around both. The rifle stayed pointed outward. The sound of wind returned. Still, she did not close her eyes. The man crawled with one elbow in the dirt. His knee scraped stone. His ribs flared sharp with every inch. Smoke blurred the air ahead. His lips cracked. His tongue stuck to his teeth. He pulled again. Then again. A breath shuddered loose. Charred boards leaned where the wall once stood. The porch had burned through and fallen in. A beam smoked near the well. Nothing. Stood upright. Shapes moved through the wreckage. He froze. 3. No. 4. Their backs were straight. No shouting. No guns raised. They stepped light. Their eyes moved slow. Their faces held no fear. Not raiders. Not the same men who brought spears and fire. The tallest turned. His face caught the sun. The man knew him. Deep lines. Gray along the chin. Scars like tracks at the edge of one eye. The elder. The same one who took the horse without a word. He stepped forward. Stopped. Waited. The man coughed. It burned deep. The elder gave a short signal. One of the younger Apaches came forward. He knelt beside the man and uncorked a water skin. The man reached, but missed. The Apache held the water to his mouth, cool, smooth. He drank too fast and choked. The Apache pulled the skin away, waited, then gave more. The man drank slower. His hand steadied on the ground. His legs twitched. He tried to sit, but his side gave out. He gasped and clenched his jaw. The elder knelt beside him now. Still no words. The man looked at him. The elder stared back. Nothing passed between them but breath and smoke. The wind shifted. Ash moved over both their boots. The elder rose. The younger took the man's arm, helped him roll onto his back. He lay still, eyes half open. The sky spun. He whispered something he could not hear. The water soaked his collar. Heat pulsed behind his eyes. He blinked once. The sun flickered. Then darkness swept in again. His limbs dropped. The hand that had gripped the elder's wrist slipped free. His jaw slackened. His chest lifted once. Then slower. The elder looked at the others. They nodded. One moved toward the barn. Another stepped toward the well. The young one stayed kneeling. He poured another small stream across the man's mouth. The man did not drink. He did not stir. His face looked quiet. His wound had dried. His ribs barely moved. The fire behind them faded to red. The elder turned and looked out across the dry stretch of brush. Far in the distance, something stirred. He narrowed his eyes. Waited. Then stepped back into the ruin without a sound. He woke under shade that moved like breath. The world felt distant. The ground was softer than dirt. His ribs pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. A slow wind brushed his cheek. He blinked once. The sky was clear. Branches above him had been tied together to form a lean frame. Woven mats kept the sun off his face. His hand moved an inch. Coarse fabric. A blanket across his chest. He looked to the side. A fire pit. No smoke. Stones stacked for a windbreak. He turned his head the other way. 2 horses stood tied beneath a tree. One of them he had never seen. The other he had. A figure crouched nearby, adding dried roots to a pot. He tried to speak. Only air came out. The figure turned. The elder. Same sharp cheekbones. Same long silence. The elder stepped closer. Knelt without noise. Held out a gourd of water. The man took it with shaking hands. Drank. Coughed. Drank again. The elder watched. Not with judgment. Not with sympathy. The man lowered the gourd. Tried again to speak. Only one word made it out. He pointed. His hand trembled. The elder looked at the gesture, then turned his head toward the desert beyond the camp. He called out. Another Apache stepped forward. Younger, lighter frame, bow across his back. The elder gave a short signal. The younger man nodded, mounted one of the horses, rode out fast. The man tried to sit up. Pain caught under his ribs. He clenched his jaw. The elder placed one hand on the man's shoulder, pressed him back down, then stood, walked to the fire, added another root. The man stared at the sky. The wind made no sound. He folded the blanket tighter around himself. The motion hurt, but he did not stop. He closed his eyes. Not to sleep, not to rest. To hold what he could not see. The woman, the boy, the child. He pictured the ravine, the shape of her arm lifting the rifle, the boy's burned hands, the child's soft cough. He opened his mouth. No words came. He covered his face with one arm. No prayer rose, only rhythm, heartbeat against ribs, ribs against skin, skin against the dry weight of the desert. The fire crackled once. The horse faded into the distance. The elder looked out toward the same horizon. He did not move. He did not sit. He waited. The man breathed deep, held it, let it go. His hands folded over his chest. The blanket rose and fell. The heat stayed steady. The wind kept moving. The sky did not change, and neither man spoke again. The woman had not moved since the wind shifted. Her back pressed tight against the rock. The rifle lay across her lap. The boy's head rested on her thigh. The child curled against her side like a sack of breathless warmth. A faint rustle reached her ear. She turned her head. A mottled coil slid across the dirt, dry scales over dry stone. The head lifted, tongue flicked. It moved toward the child's bare leg. The woman gripped the rifle stock. She held steady, then struck. The sound cracked sharp in the silence. The snake twisted. She struck again. It stilled. Dust settled. She sat back with chest heaving. The boy whimpered but did not rise. His skin burned under her hand. His breath stuttered and faded and returned. She dipped a corner of the cloth into the last of the water, pressed it against his brow. He twitched and murmured. She whispered no sound. The child had not spoken. Not since the porch burned. Now her small hands clutched the woman's belt, eyes wide, mouth dry. The woman looked out past the brush again. The sun had shifted overhead. The heat came flat now. No more shadows from the ridge. Just glare. Then a sound. Faint at first. Then closer. Hoofbeats. Measured. Not a rush. Not many. She lifted the rifle again. Elbows braced against. Her knees. The child tucked herself deeper beneath the woman's arm. A rider appeared over the slope. One man. No gun drawn. Bow on his back. Hair loose behind him. He slowed his horse. Stopped halfway down. Dismounted. Held both hands forward, open. The woman did not lower the rifle. The rider stepped closer. One pace, then another. Stopped 10 feet away. Waited. He looked past her to the children. His eyes settled on the boy. He gave a short signal. No sound. Just hand across chest. She did not understand. Still she watched him. His shoulders were relaxed, no threat in his stance. He reached behind and drew something slowly from a pack. A bundle, wrapped in leather. He unrolled it on the ground. A folded blanket, a canteen, dried roots. He stepped back, pointed to the canteen, pointed to the boy. She did not move. The rifle stayed firm. The rider nodded once, turned, walked back to his horse, mounted, stayed where he was, watching, waiting. The woman looked down at the boy, his skin pale beneath the sweat, his lips moving without words. The child watched her, eyes searching. The bundle sat untouched in the dust. A line of ants moved near it. The rider did not leave. The sun beat down. The rifle stayed high, but her hands had begun to shake. The horse moved at a steady pace. Its hooves softened in the dust. The elder rode ahead, shoulders straight, eyes forward. The man sat behind him, arms weak, fingers curled around the blanket tied at his waist. The path dipped low, then climbed gently toward the shallow ridge. Heat shimmered across the rocks. He swayed once, but steadied. The elder slowed the horse. At the crest, he stopped. The man looked up. Below them, the land opened wide. Dry brush scattered near the arroyo. A slant of shadow cut across the flat. She stood at the edge of the ravine, still. Back half turned, face tilted toward the north. She did not move. He could not see the boy. He could not see the child. The elder nudged the horse forward. They came down slow. A soft wind carried grit across the hooves. The woman turned. Her eyes locked on his. She did not cry out. She did not run. She adjusted the child in her arms, stepped forward. Her pace was even. each step deliberate. The boy followed behind her, his hands pressed against her back. He leaned to one side. His shirt clung damp against his frame. One cheek was red from fever. Still he walked. The child's face was buried against the woman's neck. Hair stuck to her skin. She held the girl close with one hand and kept the other near the boy's chest. The horse stopped. The man slid off slowly. His feet touched ground and held. He did not stumble. He stood upright. They stopped 3 paces apart. Her eyes did not leave his. The boy blinked up at him. The child shifted once. No sound passed, no motion, but breath. Behind them, the elder raised one arm. The riders began to gather. One by one, they dismounted, moved around the family, formed a wide ring. No words, no weapons drawn, only the sound of wind brushing cloth. The woman stepped forward again, closed the distance. He reached out and placed one hand on the boy's head. The boy flinched but did not pull back. The child turned her face. Her eyes opened. She saw him. She did not cry. Her hand reached. He touched her fingers. His breath caught. She closed her eyes again. He looked at the woman. Her face was lined with dust, her jaw tight, her eyes wet but not falling. Still she said nothing. Still he said nothing. The circle held. The riders waited. The sun dipped slightly. The shadows grew long. The elder stepped forward. He placed one hand on the man's shoulder, then moved past. The circle opened. The riders followed. The man stood still with the woman and the children. He did not look back. He did not let go. The fire sat low between the stones. Its light flickered against the edges of the circle. Shadows stretched long behind each figure. The sky above held a deep orange band that faded into soft black. The last light had gone behind the ridge. The camp was still. The man sat with his legs crossed. His arms rested in his lap. The blanket draped over one shoulder. His ribs ached with each breath, but he did not shift. The woman sat across from him. The child lay asleep against her side. The boy's eyes were closed, but his hand gripped her dress. His skin still held warmth, but the fever had dropped. The elder sat close to the fire. His eyes watched the flames. His hands were folded. To the left of the elder, a younger Apache leaned forward. He did not speak for a long time. Then he did. His voice was low, slow. Each word passed through smoke and silence. He spoke of the raid. He said the attackers were not from their camp, not from their families. He said they had painted themselves to appear like kin. But they were not. The others in the circle did not interrupt. He said the attack came out of vengeance, not for justice. He said they believed the man had betrayed the gift of the horse, that he had spoken to soldiers, that he had brought them near. He looked across the fire at the man. The man did not move. The boy stirred, but did not wake. The younger Apache said the elder never believed the lies. He said that is why they came, to see for themselves, to stand between the truth and the lie. He said the elder had seen enough in silence to understand. He finished speaking. He looked down. The fire snapped once. The circle stayed still. The elder reached forward and pressed one stick deeper into the coals. The light flared and glowed. The man looked at his hands, then at the boy, then at the child, then at the woman. She did not speak. Her eyes did not leave his face. He looked at the fire. The wind shifted. The smoke moved across his feet. He gave one nod, slow. Once. The younger Apache looked up. The elder gave a quiet breath through his nose. No one else moved. The boy opened his eyes. He looked across the fire at the man. The child slept. The circle held. The fire kept burning. And for the first time since morning, no one held a weapon. The woman gathered branches with one arm while balancing the child against her hip. The girl clung tight but no longer shook. Her breath came soft and even now. The woman's other hand carried a bundle of dry stems tied with bark. The boy knelt nearby, a small blade in his hand. His fingers curled careful and slow around a short stick. He carved in long strokes. A curl of wood fell to the dust. He glanced up toward the ridge where the man stood, then kept carving. The air hung dry and still. The heat pressed into every surface. The man moved among the riders, not far, never fast. His gait had steadied, his side still tight but healing. He carried a bundle of roots toward the cook fire. The elder sat nearby, cross-legged, eyes half closed. Each evening they sat the same way. No long talks, no exchange of names, just small glances, small offerings. One cup handed, one stick placed on flame. Each motion as mattered, each one returned. The fire crackled low. The boy approached and showed his carving. A flat plank with notches. A crude figure cut at one end. The man took it, ran his thumb across the grooves. The boy waited. The man nodded once and handed it back. The boy smiled, then turned and ran toward the woman. The elder had watched the moment. He did not speak. Later he stood and walked past the fire. He disappeared into the horses. The man sat alone now. The woman finished stacking wood. She brought it near the sleeping mats. The child slept curled under a hide. The boy helped arrange kindling. His hands no longer shook. The stars began to show. The fire deepened. The man stood. The elder returned. Behind him a rider led a new horse, taller than the others, strong chest, dark mane. The elder nodded toward the animal. The man looked long at the horse, then back at the elder. He stepped forward, placed a hand on the horse's neck. The animal stood still. The man stepped back, shook his head, pointed toward the elder, refused. The elder stepped forward, took the reins, held them out again, waited. The man hesitated, then reached. His fingers closed around leather. He bowed his head. The elder gave one nod, turned, returned to the fire. The boy watched from the edge of the camp. The woman rested her chin on her knees. The fire lit half her face. The man led the horse in a slow circle. The child stirred in sleep. The wind carried the scent of sage and ash. The man looked toward the darkness beyond the hills. He did not mount. He stood beside the horse and waited. The animal breathed steady. So did he. The sun had not yet cleared the ridge when the man rose. The fire near the sleeping mats had burned to static ash. The others had not stirred. The child curled against the woman's chest. The boy slept with one hand open on his chest, the carved stick beside him. The man took the reins from the post. The horse stood without sound, no saddle, just a rope and the weight of a slow breath. He led it past the fire, past the circle of stone, past the edge of camp where the earth dropped and rose again. No one stopped him. No one called. He mounted at the dry crossing, turned toward the open land, rode alone. The sun caught up with him halfway to the ranch. It spilled across the low hills in long gold lines. The dust warmed beneath the hooves. He saw the place before he reached it. Ash drifted near the well. The barn stood partly collapsed. A single post leaned from the corner. He dismounted, tied the horse to the remaining frame of the porch, walked to where the ground was broken. He took a stick, scraped the dirt. His hands did not move fast. Each motion came slow and even. He found the first body beneath a torn tarp, bones and cloth, a belt buckle half buried. He laid them out straight, covered them in layers, stone, dust, wood. No words, only the sound of rock on bone. He moved to the next shape, then the third. The sun climbed higher. He did not wipe his brow. He did not drink. He kept working. When he finished the last grave, he stood back, breath low, ribs stiff. Then he turned to the ruins of the barn. He stepped over the charred door. Ash broke beneath his boots. He moved through smoke and silence. Near the back wall, blackened boards. He knelt, dug through the pieces, pulled out a length of wood. The rifle stock, cracked, scorched along the grip. He held it in both hands, ran a thumb over the scratch along the top. He carried it out, walked back to the graves, knelt by the smallest, laid the stock across the stones. Wood on stone. He pressed his palm to it once, then stood. He turned toward the edge of the land, walked the fence line. What was left of it? Each post marked a memory. He did not stop. When he returned to the horse, he mounted slow, looked once towards the rise, then did not look again. He turned east. Let the horse walk. The wind carried the scent of ash behind him. He did not breathe it in. He did not speak. He only rode. The morning rose slow across the dry basin. Thin light broke over the ridge in pale gold strokes. Campfires burned low. Ash curled at the edge of each pit. The canvas shelters had been taken down. Bundles were stacked, ropes tied tight. The boy sat near one of the horses. His face was painted with narrow streaks of red and ash. He held still while the elder marked a final line across his brow. The boy did not blink. He did not speak. When the elder stood, the boy turned toward the open trail. Beside the packs, the child crouched. Her fingers held a small carved figure. A horse, its legs uneven, the shape rough but familiar. She ran her thumb along, its back again and again. Dust clung to her knees. The woman moved between bundles. She carried a pouch of dried leaves and roots. Her hands worked quick, each piece sorted, each tied. She tucked them into the saddlebag and closed the flap. Her hair was pulled back, her sleeves rolled high. The man stood at the edge of the camp, one hand at his belt. The other rested against the fire pit's rim. The elder stood beside him. No one else lingered nearby. The man turned toward the horses, then back to the elder. He held out the reins. The same horse, its coat clean now, its breath slow and even. The elder looked down at the reins, then up at the man. He did not take them. He smiled once, then walked away. No words, just that. The fire crackled low. The man watched the elder go, then turned to the child. She looked up at him with the carved figure clutched tight. He bent and took her in his arms, lifted her to the saddle. She did not speak, did not reach for him. She held the carving with both hands. The boy climbed up behind her. He placed one arm around her waist. The woman adjusted the bag across the rear. The horse shifted its weight. The man took the lead rope and began to walk. Dust rose behind his boots. The boy looked ahead. The child held her carving to her chest. The woman walked on the other side. Her hand brushed the horse's shoulder. The rest of the riders followed behind them. No one spoke. No sound but hooves and cloth and the creak of leather. The sun climbed. The fire faded behind them. The wind pressed forward. No trail marked ahead. Only open land. Only heat. Only dust. And they did not look back. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment on the Old Western Tales.